TV network, the solution for humanity.
I found the light after those long dark nights. Now my world is bright. Islam is my sight. Now I found the light after those long dark nights. Now my world is bright. Islam is my sight. Now my
Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to this episode of The Straight Path. I'm your host, Feroz Abdul Rahman. This show is about you, the viewer. Lots of you must have faced problems when you're thinking about coming into Islam, or maybe you've been a Muslim for a little while and you're finding it difficult staying on the straight path. Well, we've got a lot of guests with us today to talk about what challenges a Muslim faces when trying to come onto the straight path of Islam. I'm going to introduce our guests, but before I do that, let's watch what one of them had to say before.
My world is bright. Islam is my sight.
I'm 31 years old. I have 4 kids. I was raised as a Christian. When I was young, I played basketball in high school, so I was into sports. And after graduation, I went to the University of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. I went there for a year and a half, and during that time, I kind of strayed off to the left and got involved with some bad elements. Teenage years, to sum it up, I was just average teen, went to high school, dated, played basketball, was really into sports, and family life was really normal. I was raised by my mother, single parent. I have an older brother who was, he's 6 years older than me, so he was a father figure in a way. And I have younger brothers also. And we was a close-knit family. When I was maybe 20, 21, I wanted to kind of get myself together. It felt like I was really veering off into a path that was destructive, which caused me to think about getting on the right path. And usually, growing up a Christian, what you do is you would go back to church. If you felt like you was veering off to the left, you would try to go back to church. But I knew a lot of people who went to church, and I seen that it didn't have a strong effect on their everyday life. So I questioned going back to the church, and I realized that I was a Christian only because my mother was a Christian. And even when I was young and going to church consistently, it was certain things within the religion that I couldn't grasp or understand, and I couldn't get a satisfactory answer for. Mainly the concept of the Trinity. It never set well with me, and I was taught that the prophet Jesus was God, and I never could understand why we would praise Jesus and not really give God the proper credit. What led me to it was when I was about 21, I wanted to get myself together. But when I started asking questions, it led me to more questions. So I didn't feel that Christianity was the proper religion for me. So being without a religion, it was maybe a 4 or 5 year time period where I felt like I didn't have a religion, where I did a lot of studying and read a lot of books on different religions. Christianity, of course, Judaism, Buddhism, just anything I could get my hands on, just trying to find what was correct, because it was obvious that it was a correct path, but I just didn't know what it was. So eventually it got frustrating because you didn't not having a religion, you could have a certain sense of anxiety or you're uncomfortable. So I really started praying just for guidance, and I ended up meeting a Muslim, a Somalian brother. We were playing basketball at the same park, and afterwards we began talking, and that was my first time meeting a Muslim. My first challenge was breaking away from the friends and some family members who were involved with negative things that goes against Islam, and trying to make that initial transition. The best moment after becoming a Muslim was initially afterwards, because I took Shahada on Jummah, and it was my first time seeing so many people gathered in the same place from different races, and I really felt the brotherhood, and I got a lot of hugs, and it was just a good feeling, a good camaraderie there, and I felt like I belonged there. Presently, I'm learning Arabic. Came to Cairo to study Arabic for the next 1.5 to 2 years, and I plan on bringing my kids over here also. Future plans, I would like to raise my kids in a Muslim country to protect them from some of the negative elements that's in the United States. So that's my main focus, and also to educate myself and my kids.
Now my world is bright. Islam is my side.
Alhamdulillah, we saw that little clip by Brother Yusuf, and we've got him with us here in the studio today. We're going to ask him a lot of questions, but first we'll ask him to make a short introduction, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa
How are you today,
rahmatullah.
Akhi?
Alhamdulillah.
Now, how do you like being referred to, Yusuf or Ricky? I think your name was Ricky before?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yusuf.
Yusuf is better, inshallah. We'll be asking you a lot of questions, inshallah. Before we do that, we'll like to say assalamu alaikum to Brother Abdullah.
Assalamu alaikum.
Now, we've seen you many times before, mashallah, but for the guests who've tuned in for the first time,
Now my name's Abdullah, originally from London,
mashallah,
born and raised, became a Muslim as well, like Yusuf, 8 years ago,
mashallah,
and here to study Arabic in Cairo.
alhamdulillah. And Brother Abdul Rahman, or should we refer to you as Hans?
Abdul Rahman.
Abdul Rahman, inshallah. How are you today?
Alhamdulillah, I'm doing well.
Alhamdulillah. And for the brothers or the people who are seeing you for the first time?
Yeah, my name is Abdul Rahman. I'm from the United States. I became Muslim 3 years ago, and I'm here studying Arabic.
MashaAllah. And Brother Ismail, you're ubiquitous here at Huda, well known.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
My name
inshallah.
is Ismail Howard, born in England. Parents are from Jamaica. Been Muslim now for about 16 years.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah, married with 6 children.
MashaAllah.
Alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah. We've got something in common between Brother Yusuf and Brother Abdul Rahman. You both hail from the same state. MashaAllah. And Brother Abdul Rahman told us last time that it's corn country, very open spaces and quite sparsely populated.
Yeah, as far as the whole state is sparsely populated, but the city is in Milwaukee. It's pretty lively in Milwaukee. Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. We're going to be asking you a lot of questions, and the brothers are going to be involved, inshallah, and ask you questions also. But you said you're 31 years old now,
Right.
and you've got 4 kids.
4.
How are they, boys or girls?
3 girls, 1 boy.
MashaAllah.
Yeah.
And are they here with you now in Egypt?
No, I plan 6 months. Go get them and bring them here.
Okay, MashaAllah, MashaAllah. And you said you like playing basketball.
I did till I got older. It's hard on the body right now, but yeah, I do. I like playing basketball.
Okay, did you manage? Did you play at college or just at high school?
Just high school.
Just at high school. Were you any good?
Yeah, it was good.
So, I mean, try to keep it light, but something serious. You know, like you said, you were playing basketball and the Somali brother came up to you and he talked to you about Islam. Does that happen a lot? Do Muslims tend to get involved with sports and then call people over?
That was my first time, so I don't think so. Not too often.
Okay.
Usually, kind of have to know somebody.
Okay.
But
Was he a particularly religious guy, or?
he was a little younger back then. Right now, he's more religious, but even then, he was He was religious. He read the Quran a lot and hadiths, and he had books, so he was pretty studious.
Mashallah. Abdul Rahman, are there many Somalis in Wisconsin then?
I think in the coast where he's from, or in Milwaukee, where Brother Yusuf's from, where I'm from, there aren't very many Somalis.
Yeah, you told us in your village there were only 3 Baha'i families, and that's it.
Yeah, I mean, Wisconsin is very, in certain cities there's diversity, but most of the state it's not diverse at all.
And it's pretty much like New Zealand, where there's more cattle than people, did you say?
Yeah, there are more cows than people.
Oh, cows than people.
Yeah.
It's different than New Zealand.
Yeah.
We've got a lot more questions for our guests. We're going to come back in a few minutes, and do stay with us.
Islam is my side.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome back. So, Brother Yusuf, you said you went to university for 1.5 years?
Right.
Yeah. What were you doing there, if you don't mind my asking?
I was majoring in English.
Oh, mashallah. And then what happened?
I started messing up. I just started partying and really got off into something else.
Okay.
So I lost focus on what I was going to school for.
Oh.
I started going to the college parties and the whole scene. So,
is it common for people where you guys are to go to university? Does everybody do it?
In Milwaukee, Milwaukee is like the biggest city in the state. So you have a lot more diversity in that city, and it's not very common for the people on the lower income scale. It's not so common for them to go along to college. It's rare.
What's university life like? You've been to university, but in another state. But what's university like?
I actually went to school in the same state, University of Wisconsin-Madison.
Oh, okay.
And the university life, I mean, we can relate to the party life. Madison's known for being fairly rowdy. But it was very different for me because I came from a very, very small village of less than 2,000 people. And then coming to Madison, where you have everything is there if you want. Everything you want is there. And in my village, it was very different, completely different.
What about you, brother, from the UK? Do you find that people who go to university tend to become more rowdy, more away from Islam, or do they tend to start thinking?
In the universities, they're more of a revival. They've got Islamic societies, they've got prayer rooms, they've got a lot of activities going on.
It's strong in the UK.
It's stronger, I think.
In the universities in the UK.
So there might be more of a chance of people coming into Islam than away from it.
I think in the UK, we got a lot more freedom in the university. That they got their own prayer room. They have student lectures, Islamic lectures. They basically, some communities take over the whole university.
They have like Islamic week. The whole week is
Islamic
about Islam, lectures and like that. So.
We don't party like the people in the States, though.
Okay. Did you guys find that there were Muslims being active at university, or like you said, there isn't much diversity, not many Muslims?
When I was there, I didn't even, Islam wasn't even on my radar. I didn't even notice. It was a couple females that I remember that had the hijab on, and I didn't even know what that meant. I just was like,
But there's no Islamic week, no.
I know they have it at the school now, but back then they might have had it, but I wasn't.
You wasn't focused on
I wasn't even.
You said you moved to the left. What, the political left?
No, when I mean the left, I mean you have a straight path. I'm off the straight path.
Okay.
To the left.
And I mean, if it's too personal, you don't have to answer this. But we had a show before this where we talked about where a lot of people tend to say women are, for the Muslim men, women are the biggest issue when they come into Islam. You said you dated. Did you find that it was difficult letting go of something like that?
A little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
When I was younger, I dated a lot of women, actually.
Okay.
So when I said I went off to the left, that was part of veering off to the left.
Is that what's common in America then?
It's
very, very common.
It's common everywhere.
This is
the norm,
Yeah, this is the norm. I mean, maybe 50 years ago it was unheard of, but now it's unheard of for you not to have a girlfriend.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think we can limit to the States.
It's everywhere.
We grew up with all different types of similar things.
Especially somewhere like London, so cosmopolitan. You've got the whole world around you, mishmash of cultures. Everyone's out there.
And London, you see the part I'm from, you couldn't really bring your own identity with you anyway, even if you was a Muslim or you was from a certain part of the world. The amount of distraction there is in London. You could not recognize someone to be from any part of the world because London filtered all that. It was just, it wasn't the place, you know. And maybe still today, maybe I think now things are different. The younger Muslims are showing their Islam more and saying that I'm a Muslim at a younger age. So there's more awareness.
When did you leave the U.S.?
2 months ago.
2 months ago. So what's the situation now? I mean, different from college. I know you said there might be more activities going on, but...
Oh, at the university?
And generally in your state?
In my state,
Is it dawah?
it's not as strong in Milwaukee as we would like it, of course. It's the Muslims have activities. They aim at the young people. That's that's where it starts at. You try to keep the young people active and keep them busy and keep them interested. And so many other influences that you have to try to pull them in.
You moved states though, didn't you? You started living somewhere else?
Yeah, I lived near Washington, D.C.
Okay.
Thereafter, for about 2 or 3 years.
2 or 3 years, so you don't know what Wisconsin is like now?
Well, Wisconsin, for the most part, it's there aren't very many Muslims in the state. They're mainly concentrated along Milwaukee and Green Bay. I mean, in certain areas.
And what about D.C.?
D.C. is very active, alhamdulillah.
MashaAllah.
Yeah, it's very, very active. As being the capital, and there's a strong movement, Islamic movement. There are many, you can't just say one. But there's a lot of activities going on.
Is it focused around one type of people, like maybe a community, or is it just generally all Muslims are active?
For instance, the African American community is very active in doing a lot of good things and helping the neighborhoods, building school, doing a lot of different things. The immigrant communities are doing their own things. They're building masajid. They're involved in everything from politics to social work, lots of different things.
And what about you, Ismail? You left the UK a long time ago?
Yeah, it's been 6 years now. I've been back a few times, but all it's been 6 years now.
So what do you think situation changing there?
Definitely there's more Islamic activity, and obviously there's more focus on the Muslims, and the Muslims are meeting that challenge with dawah, more organizations. Particularly in my city now we have 5 masjids within about 5-mile radius.
MashaAllah. We have a phone call from a brother in Nigeria, Brother Umar. Go ahead, Brother Umar. Walaikum salam.
Yes, I have these personal problems. I am 37 years old now, and I've been a Muslim throughout my life, raised by Muslim family, we are 10 family, I'm the number 5. I've graduated college, I'm working now, but I'm having this problem of state of mind to go down and get married. So I want you to advise me. I've been watching this channel and a lot of things I've understood, a lot of things I need more knowledge. But this particular problem of mine, I want you to help me diagnose or give me a way out. I don't have state of mind to go down and get the wife. Many ladies are together with Muslim ladies, but I still don't settle down, get the wife. So help me out, tell me something I can do.
Jazakallah khair for your call, Brother Umar. So, I mean, we're going to veer off the topic just a little bit to advise the brother. He said he's been a Muslim all his life, and he doesn't seem to have peace of mind and, relaxation. I mean, that's quite wide open, but if you had to quickly give him advice about how to have peace of mind and settle down, what would you say? I know I'm throwing this question at you, but the brother threw it at us too.
I would say make a lot of dhikr. You see, if you forget Allah, Allah forgets you. If he remembers Allah by himself, he would find peace of mind by himself. And this is something very important.
What would you say, brother?
I think that's good advice, what he said. It reminds me of a hadith that says that everything in the dunya is cursed except for the one who remembers Allah, the scholar, and the one who's learning. Yeah. It's important to remember Allah and to read the Quran and just read books of knowledge. That increases your iman.
So read books of knowledge, mashallah, inshallah, that will increase your iman. Brother Abdul Rahman, what would you say?
Surround yourself with different people, if possible. I would advise him.
Good people,
that will encourage him to help him move forward.
Inshallah. So good people will help you move forward, inshallah?
I would obviously study his religion, keep close to the Quran, read the Quran a lot, and participate in community activities. You know, go to the masjid, make sure you establish your prayer, have good company. Going to encourage you.
Even helping people, that satisfies you a lot. You know, being able to maybe put bread in someone's mouth. I mean, I'm originally Nigerian. I know the situation there. I wish I could help everybody, but it's not possible.
Yeah.
So if he can just help, I mean, 2 or 3 families, or I mean, whatever the situation, you know, this will relieve him.
Jazakallah khair. Brother Umar, I hope that's been helpful. And just like Brother Yusuf mentioned the hadith that the world is cursed, everything in it is cursed except the dhikr of Allah. You know, don't worry about the little problems that come along. All the brothers you see around you here, they did face their problems, and you know, they've come out of it, mashallah, they're better for it. So don't worry about it, the peace of mind will come. Just remember Allah as much as you can, and stick around good people. Make sure you're strong in your worship. Jazakumullah khair again for the call, Brother Umar from Nigeria. So you said, Brother Yusuf, coming back to you, you said that you were 21 and in college when you first started thinking about, you know, your life and where it's heading. So you looked for a few years and then you became Muslim. How long did that search go on?
It felt like a long time. It was a long time. It was maybe 5 years or so. 5 years.
So how long have you been Muslim now?
Going on 5 years.
MashaAllah.
In a few months it'll be 5 years. Yeah.
SubhanAllah. And was it only the brother the Somali brother that played basketball with you that helped, or?
He was the main one. He introduced me to other people, the imam of the masjid that in our community.
Did you think about Islam before you met the brother?
No.
No, really?
So all that research.
I had read in the United States they have this group. They call themselves the Nation of Islam, and it's like their ideology is like totally different than Islam. So I was a little familiar with that. And
did it appeal to you, or?
No, it was a little bit that did, and then it was certain things I read that just
way off.
Common sense wouldn't allow you to keep reading. It was so off base.
So all your research, what do you research just into Christianity?
I was going to bookstores and library. They didn't have books on Islam.
Okay.
They didn't have books on Islam.
I see. I'm sorry I have to cut the people off, but we're out of time today. Until next time, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Now I found the light after those long dark nights. Now my world is bright. Islam is my sight. Now I found the light after those long dark nights. Now my world is bright. Islam is my sight.
Marriage or divorce?